begin our service in Diana's memory. Shiviti Adonai Lenegdi Tamid Ki mimini Bahalemot. In the face of death, we ask the eternal questions that we have been asking since the beginning of time. The author of Psalms put it this way: O God, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? It seems that we are little more than a breath, our days like a passing shadow. We come and go like grass. In the morning, the grass shoots up, renewed, yet in the evening it fades and withers. You cause us to return to dust, saying, Return, O you mortal creatures. If only we were wise and understood where we are going. But this we do know. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall know true peace. In our tradition, as in others, we turn to the Psalms to comfort us in our time of grief, to help us face our sadness. The 23rd Psalm, attributed to King David. Adonai ro'i lo echsar bino desha yarbitzeni, al mei menuchot yinahaleni nafshi yeshovev. Yancheni v'ma'agalei tzedek lema'an shemo, gam ki elech begeit salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi, shiftecha umishantecha, hema yanachamuni. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neget sorerai, tishanta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya, ach tov v'chesed yerdefuni, kol yemei chayai, v'shafti beveit Adonai le'orech yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. God guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Susan, there can be no better words of tribute to your mother than those words that you yourself shared with me. And I want to, though it's just the three of us, I want to share those back with you this morning. Your mother, all of her days, her entire life, had a keen intellect, as you say, a discerning and a brilliant mind. Her wits were with her throughout, from beginning to end. She was sharp, but that was only part of who she was, because she was also a woman who was loving and sweet and beautiful. She was precious to those who loved her, and those who she loved were precious to her, and that came through in the way that she was a devoted wife and mother. A devoted sister to her brother of blessed memory. Her kindness, her ability to care, her compassion were all embodied in the kind of empathetic way that she lived, empathic way that she lived. And along with all those emotions, she also loved to laugh. She had a wonderful sense of humor. She enjoyed laughter. Humor is a kind of creativity, and she was creative in so many different ways. And though perhaps diminutive in size, she was a ferociously strong woman, fearless, mentally, emotionally. She was tireless and determined and undeterred. And if there was an obstacle or a challenge in front of her, she tackled it, whether it was on her behalf or on behalf of someone else. She didn't let much get in her way. It is true that her life was not always easy. Her parents came from Russia, barely surviving the pogroms that generation of Jews lived through. She described her mother always, or referred to her as my beautiful mama. She grew up in New York. Her parents were not well off. They worked hard. She lived in an apartment overlooking the Central Park ice skating rink. But her family, her parents, they worked hard to allow her to go to college, and she went to Hunter College, high school, and then did graduate work at Columbia University and social work along the way, learning French and Latin. For her generation, she married a bit late, age 32. I'm sure that many of her peers were married by then, but for whatever reasons, marriage was delayed. Once she met Alexander, they had a wonderful love and life and married for 60 years until your father's death just a little over 2 years ago. She moved to Cleveland to be with her husband. They enjoyed together a wonderful happiness and love, a contentment, a peace that they shared as partners, as husband and wife. They were what our tradition describes as ezer kenegdo to each other, a constant helpmate, a source of support and strength. And she loved Alexander totally and completely. And even after his death, she never stopped loving him and certainly never forgot him. Theirs was a marriage in which they told each other that they loved each other every day. She loved her home. She was a wonderful cook and a baker. She was of a generation that survived the Depression, lived through the Depression, and that had a profound impact on her throughout her life. It gave her a sense of values, an appreciation of working hard, but more than that, it was part of what shaped her character so that she didn't care if you were rich or poor, or the color of your skin, or where you came from, or what your background was. What she cared about was what kind of person you were. Were you a decent person? Were you humane? Did you have a concern for others? Were you willing to help others? And this was important to her and others because it was so important to her in herself. And that's how she lived, doing and caring and helping. Her work as a social worker before she got married was to help young, abused, and neglected and runaway girls that were in the social work system, and that were some of them in the criminal justice system that were there on probation. Because that's what she cared about. Not what you had, but who you were. Not what you said, but how you acted. She was a lover of books, a great reader. She would read anything. She appreciated the artistic in literature, in poetry, in music, in dance. She herself wrote. Susan, you shared with me that she had a belief that you could find everything you would ever want to know at the public library. And when she couldn't read anymore because her eyes were getting weak, she would listen to National Public Radio. And though, as I mentioned, born and raised in New York City, she loved nature. She enjoyed the ocean and the beach. She liked going outside at night to see the night sky, to look up to the moon and stars. And throughout the year, but especially this time of year, the meteor showers that come every summer. In her home here, she loved to watch the bird feeder outside the kitchen window. And she wasn't afraid to go out in the snow, even when it was deep, in order to replenish the bird seed in the dead of winter so that the birds would have something to eat. And you told me about how she fed graham crackers to squirrels on the patio. Your mother was a woman of great character, loving and caring and generous and hardworking. She helped those around her. She did all that she could for them. She faced life with what the rabbis called a sever panim yafot, with a cheerful face and a smile, even when it was hard. Her love of nature, her love of art, of literature, and her kindness towards others. This is the measure of her life. Susan, she taught you through her deeds and through her words to see challenges as opportunities. She encouraged you to dare to dream and to dream big. She encouraged you, I might even say insisted, that you always give your best effort. And even if you don't always achieve your goals, if you aim high, the outcome is better and greater than if you aim low. What a wonderful set of life lessons to teach. Today is a day of grief. And the days ahead are days of grief. It is hard enough when a parent dies, but it is exponentially more poignant and painful when we lose our second parent. Our parents who brought us into this world and who reared us serve as an anchor in our lives. And when they are gone, we can feel like we have lost our anchor. But in fact, you have not, because the example of her life, the way she lived, the lessons that she taught you through deed and word, more through deed, all of this will continue to anchor you and to center you. You will carry these lessons with you, in addition to all your memories of your mother and of your father of blessed memory. In addition to all your memories, you have the values that they imparted to you and that you have integrated and taken into your own personality and character and being. Tradition teaches Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the memory of a good and a righteous person, is forever a blessing to all who knew her. Never was this more true than in regard to your mother. But more than the traditional blessing that we end a tribute with, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, better than that even are your mother's own words. To live in hearts we leave behind is not to die. Your mother will live on in your heart. She will always be with you. Though she has died and we grieve her death and we are saddened and it is difficult, there is part of her that lives on forever inside of you. In the way that she lived and the way she loved, your mother earned for herself the Keter Shem Tov, the crown of a good name. And that crown of a good name is the inheritance that she leaves to you. And every time you face a challenge, you wear her crown and carry it into the future. And every time you help another person, or are kind to another person, or compassionate to one in need, you wear her crown of a good name, you honor her life, and you pay tribute to her memory. To live in hearts we leave behind is not to die. Our life on this earth is limited. We are granted years of 70, or perhaps by reason of strength 80 years. Diana was granted even more than that, and yet 1,000 years in God's sight seem like a yesterday once it has passed. And so the author of Psalms teaches us, teach us to number our days that we may attain a heart of wisdom. O God, may your favor be upon us. Establish the work of our hands, that it may long endure. The work of Diana's hands, the love of her heart, survives her and endures within us. Please rise. Il malei rachamim, shochein bamromim, hamtzei menucha nechona, tachat kanfei hashchina, im kedoshim utehorim, Kizohar harakia mazhirim et nishmata shehalcha leolama began eden tehei menuchata ana bal harachamim hastirei beseter kenafecha leolamim Vayitzror bitzror hachayim et nishmata Adonai hu nachalata v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Diana Goldberg Kretschmer. for she has now entered eternity. O God of mercy, we pray, may she find refuge in your eternal presence, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Our service will continue at the Ohio Western Reserve National Cemetery.